Are you in pain? Have you been in pain for such a long time now that it is not only affecting your day-to-day life, but it's affecting your outlook on life? Well, in today's episode, I'm going to help you dive into the pain and begin to master the art of healing. Let's go get that nugget. Welcome, ladies, to the Life Mastery for Women podcast. I'm Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind, your host. This is where we go to learn to master our life one nugget at a time. Hey, ladies, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to today's episode, where I hope that your physical body is healing with ease. If it is not healing with ease, and it is my intention that in today's episode, I give you just one nugget of inspiration towards your transformation. So let's get started. I love talking about healing because I love learning how to manage my stuff. I want to learn how to manage my environment, my emotions, my thoughts, my body. I want to learn how to manage all of that. I want to give up the control of trying to manipulate and coerce my environment and control my environment. It's exhausting. And I think it has a lot of wear on our body when we look out to the environment and go, okay, what do I need to manipulate today to get my way and to start creating happiness and health in my life? And I go, I just don't want to do that anymore. I want to figure out some other way that creates this amazing life, but it's a lot easier than managing the outside. That was my shift when I was like 12 years old. I remember being on the roof of our shed, overlooking, 10, 20 acres of cornfield and a little bit of a breeze. And I'm standing on this flat top shed and I'm pacing back and forth, and the corn is my audience. I'm like 12 or 13 years old. And I'm pacing back and forth as if I'm on stage. I didn't even know that speakers even existed. I mean, dude, I grew up in a farm town. Nothing existed except corn. And I remember pacing back and forth, and I remember my mom was inside. She's, angry, a single mother, 2 kids. My brother had just moved in with my dad, so it was just me and her. And I remember her having a difficult time managing money and not having enough, and having a difficult time paying bills. And I remember being up on stage, on this shed in front of my audience, and the epiphany came to me that said, there's got to be a better way. And I remember thinking that as if it was yesterday. There's got to be a better way. I don't even know what that was meaning, what I was really specifically referring to, but I just knew that life wasn't meant to be a struggle, that there was a way to figure it out. And now, I'd also love to have the hallmark effect that, like, right then and there, I went to the library and I grabbed all these books and I became this young prodigy in this personal development field and learning about energy work. That wasn't the case. It wasn't literally until probably 25 years later that I started down this road, because I'm like 12 or 13 years old. I'm just trying to make it through middle school, folks. But I remember that kind of lit the fire. And I came back around to that one day, and I remember just having a really, really hard time in life, just emotionally, my relationships just were really in the tank, and they just were not going very well. And I just wasn't figuring things out. And I was just like, man, it was like one struggle after another, high anxiety, feeling, depressed, suicidal, just like, what the flip? Why am I here? And what is going on? And how do I fix this? And then it came back around. There's got to be a better way. And I think in that thought, it kind of started to pave the way for my journey, for my own personal growth and my own personal development. Then fast forward to 2017. I had acquired about a little bit bigger than a softball-sized tumor in my low abdomen, and it was pushing on my bladder. And I needed this to be gone. I remember, in May, I started like, how come I can't basically pee? And no pain at all, 0 pain. But I had to physically push on my lower bladder, on my lower abdomen to pee. Like I couldn't, like the muscular, like I just couldn't pee. And so that went on for several months. I did not think anything of it. It didn't come with any pain, so I didn't go to the doctor. If it's not falling off or bleeding or painful, I usually don't go to the doctor. Now I don't highly recommend that to everybody, but that's just my thing. Anyway, so come October, I noticed that there was a mass, and it was pretty big. It was about the size of a softball, a little bit bigger than a softball. And I go into the doctor and she's like, yeah, I don't know what that is, but we need to get rid of it. And I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, we're going to have surgery. So I'm going to recommend, you go and get these tests done. Go and get all these tests done. Well, lo and behold, that following January, I had a massive abdominal surgery and they pulled out, it was a 7-pound tumor that was resting on my bladder, which is why so my bladder couldn't fully expand to then eliminate the urine that was inside. So they have to get rid of this tumor, right? And it's endometriosis fibroid. And so it was a big, hard mass. Anyway, so now it's gone. And now they not only immediately took everything that was inside, like my uterus, my cervix, and both of my ovaries. And if you know anything about, all those body parts, they produce certain hormones. And he's like, basically, the doctor who did the surgery, I don't want to see you back in here again with this endometriosis. This is the second surgery you've had based on this, this tissue being formed. It obviously creates all kinds of problems. And so he removed everything. So then I would walk around and say, now I'm an empty cookie jar. And so now I need to fill that cookie jar, right? Well, if you know that, when you have these lady parts removed, it creates these hormones that balance your emotional state. It launched me right into menopause I don't know, how old was I? So it's 23 right now. This was 17. So I don't know, I was 44 or something. And launched me right into menopause. So I'm like, okay, so now I'm in menopause dealing with that kind of stuff. So hot flashes and moods and really like anxiety started coming. I was depressed. So I was on anti-anxiety and antidepressant medication, which I hated. So I got off that as soon as I could get on it. Anyway, so fast forward, I have this scar and I have this incision. And of course, I'm 6 weeks off, really rest. During that time, I was in a lot of pain. I mean, just from the incision. Everything else, the surgery went absolutely fine. I mean, there was some little difficulty, but that's not part of the story. So I'm laying in bed. I can't laugh. I can't sneeze. I can hardly yawn. I can hardly take a deep breath. The incision is pretty tough. I mean, it was probably 9 or 10 inches below my belly button, way low in my abdomen, right? And if you've ever had a C-section or a hysterectomy or any kind of abdominal surgery, I mean, this is your core. This is where everything comes from, all your emotions. And this is where, when you sneeze, when you use the bathroom, when you laugh, it all is, it's part of this area. So needless to say, it was a pretty boring time for me. And living with, with Amy, who's my wife, is living with her. She's really, really funny. And we're really funny together. But I'm like, dude, you cannot make me laugh. You have to leave this room. And she'd say something funny and I would be in pain. So during this time, as I was resting and recovering, I started working on this pain and I started going inward and kind of communicating with it. I didn't even know what I was doing. I wasn't taught this. Just somehow through my spiritual journey, I just became more intuitive to what do I do in certain situations. And so I attempted this healing process that I'm going to share with you today. I attempted this healing process and I go in at my 6-week check-in to my doctor. And she's like, okay, let's see the incision. She's like, holy cow. And I'm like, what? And she goes, you look like you're at the 6-month range. I can hardly even tell that there's a scar there. Now, of course, I have not had an incision like that. I did. It wasn't as big, but I didn't even think about it that, as I'm looking I don't know, this is not my regular thing that I have abdominal surgeries all the time. But as I'm looking at the scar, yeah, it's kind of past the really deep red and the bump is kind of going down and the scar kind of is that really light pink color. And she's like, wow, she's like, that was really super fast healing. And I'm like, okay. So we get in the car and Amy looks at me. She's like, dude. I'm like, what? And she goes, well, what have you been doing these last 6 weeks? I'm like, I don't know, laying there. And she's like, reading. And I'm like, well, yeah, laying there reading. And she goes, but healing. So the thing that you were doing worked. Did you hear what she said? You look like you had been at the 6-month mark. You sped up the healing. I'm like, oh yeah. So then I started practicing. And it started working. These steps were amazing in how to create physical healing in the body, really speed up the healing. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to record these steps and then I'm going to share them. And now 5 years later, I'm going to share these steps with you. But first, before we go on the journey, I want to help you to get grounded. I want you to feel the seat that you're sitting in, for starters, and then take a deep breath in. Call all of your energy back from all of the mental tabs that are open, all of the worries, the doubts, the problems, the complaints, everything that your energy is on, all of the places out of you that your attention is on. Call all of that back into your heart space. And just be here with me right now with my voice, giving yourself the gift of this very present moment. And feel into your body, feel your feet on the floor, your butt in the seat, your back against the backrest. Breathe in deeply and follow the air all the way into your body. Follow it into your lungs. All the way at the top. Hold for 2 seconds and relax. Breathe in receptivity, where you're going to be here receiving this powerful teaching that I'm going to give you. Receive that. Be here, be present. It's called present for a purpose. It is giving yourself the gift of the present moment. One more deep breath in, breathe in, breathe out, and relax. Let's go get that nugget on how do we begin our healing process. What in the world do we do when pain has come into the body and we just are feeling like we have to live with it? I hear so many people say that, well, yeah, my this hurts, my that hurts. Getting old sucks. And I look at them and I'm like, it has nothing to do with getting old, you guys. It doesn't. It has to do with the energy that you are harboring in the body. Here's a really, it's pretty vivid, but it's like you're rotting your energy, your physical body from the inside out with the stuck energy, the beliefs, the negativity, the perspective shifts that just aren't happening. You are rotting. You are rotting from the inside out. You're acquiring what they're calling arthritis and osteoporosis and all these heart disease or blood diseases and muscle stuff, and things are slowing down. I'm like, that's not it. That's not. Yeah, those have names. We named it. But I look at things from the energy perspective. You look at things from the muscular and the skeletal system and the nervous system. I go even deeper, and I look at the body. And I have this visual in my head of a full-size body that's just standing there. And all the energy that is circulating, it's like a circulatory system. And you're looking at the nervous system and how it's sending signals throughout the body. It's all this moving signals, right? It's all this energy. But mine is this white energy that's flowing through the body, through all the parts and pieces, all the bones, all the ligaments, all the tendons, the muscles, the organs. And when we kink that, we create these stuck points, and we call it arthritis. We call it pain. We call it old age, and I call it stuck energy. That's why this work is so vital to your vitality. It is so important to your life. So are you, and I hear, yeah, getting old sucks, and oh, I have arthritis, but I just have to live with it. And I go, no, you don't. It's not permanent. You can release this. You can heal from this. You can cure from this. And people go, okay, wait a second. I know there's some nurses out here listening to me going, no, Jen, there's no cure for that. There's nothing you can do for that. And I go, oh, yeah, there is, because I've done it. I'm doing it every day. Every single day I heal. Every single day I feel into my body and I get connected with it, and I go, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to release that. Every time a doctor tells me something like, oh, I had, what's it called? Tendinitis in both knees. And I worked out at this school, as a gym teacher, and there's this valley, huge valley in the back 40 behind the school. And I used to take all the high schoolers out there, and we would play capture the flag through this valley. So the base of the valley was basically the neutral zone, and each of the flags were up at the top of the valley. So 2 hills, our hill and their hill. And we would spend the whole entire gym class running up and down these hills. Well, at that point, I'm probably maybe my late 20s. This was like somewhere in the mid 90s. And I did not have the musculature to support my knees going up and down these hills. So after about a week of doing this, I come home and I'm like, holy crap, like I can't walk. I can hardly walk up and down the stairs. So I go to the doctor. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, you have really, really bad tendonitis. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. He's like, basically, you don't have the musculature to help with you going up and down these hills. Like your quads and your hamstrings, glutes are just not strong enough to support the knee. And so now the knee is basically inflamed. The tendon is inflamed. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? And he's like, basically, you have to stop doing that. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, you can ice and you can elevate and here's some ibuprofen or here's, whatever medication, blah, blah. And he goes, but you're not going to be doing any snowboarding. I'm like, excuse me? And he's like, and you probably shouldn't play hockey this season. I'm like, what are you talking about? I think I'm like in my mid to late 20s. And if you know me, I am like active. I love snowboarding. I love hockey. I love rock climbing. I love basketball. And I'm like, dude, you are not. So anyway, so I get in the car and I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm not going to adopt that belief that you just told me. I'm going to work on this. Now, I'm not saying, please understand what I'm saying right now. I'm not saying don't do the stuff, don't take the medication, don't do the chemotherapy, I'm not saying that at all. There is a time and a place for all of those things that create the healing in the body. There's a time and place for medication. There's a time and a place for other healing modalities. 100% agree. I just don't think it should be your whole entire life. And I also don't think you should sit idle by and wait for those external things to take place to begin your healing. I think that there is a massive amount of healing. I know there's a massive amount of healing that can take place when you get your mind and your attitude and your emotional state in alignment with healing. That's number one. I have to know and trust and believe that I can heal my body. You get a paper cut, what do? You clean it out. You create an atmosphere for healing to take place. You clean it out, you wash it, you put some peroxide on it, put some Neosporin, whatever. Then you bandage it up. You give it that comfort so it doesn't get bumped or bruised or caught. And then you take the Band-Aid off. Pay attention to this parallel. You take the Band-Aid off, and when the Band-Aid's on, you let the healing take place. You take the Band-Aid off, and the healing is there. The cut has healed itself. And you go, see, my body can heal itself. But somehow we go to some bigger amount of pain like arthritis. And we go, no, I guess I'm just stuck with it. Getting old sucks. No, getting old does not suck. Keeping the energy housed in your body sucks. Keeping the poison in your system sucks. Not having your chakras in alignment and open and balanced sucks. That's what sucks. Now, before I give you the healing steps, the actual steps, now I just gave you the parallel. I gave you an analogy, which is like, I'm like the analogy queen. But I gave you the analogy, and now I'm going to give you the parallel. Before we go on, if you are digging this episode so far, would you please share it with your people? Will you share it with your friends or your family, anybody who you know that could benefit from it, learning how to heal the body? It is my purpose to elevate the planet. That is totally my purpose, is to go through the life that I am, to find these simple yet powerful tools and techniques and share them with as many people as I can. Would you do that? I would be so grateful for you to like this episode, write a review if you're so moved to do that, but to share it with your people. Like I would love that. And then if you want to have conversation about this, if you want to take this a little bit deeper, then send me an email, themeditationroomtc@gmail.com, and write in there, let's talk, and let's get on a Zoom call and have a conversation. I would love to be able to show you what I do, how I can work, and how I can best support you. I think that would be amazing. So with much gratitude, thank you very much for listening so far. Let's dive into the final steps on how to bring about healing and what I did to heal my pretty deep incision of my surgery back in 2017. So I gave you the analogy of a cut. The first thing we clean, right? We clean and we start preparing the environment for its natural healing. So what we do with our physical pain, and I don't care what the physical pain is, I want you to go into it. I want you to go into the pain. See the pain. Pay attention to it. When we get a cut on our finger and we're going to clean it, we have to pay attention to it. We look at it, we clean it with peroxide, we Neosporin, we whatever, and we're paying attention to it. I want you to pay attention to your pain. go into the pain, get in that quiet moment and go with all your attention and go into it. Most of the time we're in pain, what we do is we get angry, we get frustrated, we get depressed, we want to ignore it, we want to hurry up and go away, we want to medicate it away, we want to do anything we can to get the pain to stop. But instead of all those external things of the anything I can to get it to stop, go inward. Feel the pain. Pay attention to it. The next is to describe it. You could do that when you go into it and you pay attention to it. You look at the cut and you're like, oh, it's this big, it's bleeding, it's oozing, it's this, it's doing this thing. Holy crap, look at it, right? You're going to do that with the energy. Same as a cut on your finger. You're just going to have to go inward. You're going to have to go introspection. You're going to have to go inward and go, okay, where is it? What does it look like? What color is it? Is it moving? Is it throbbing? Is it pulsating? What's it doing? Okay. Now, in the cut, after we clean it, after we go in and we pay attention to it, we go and we comfort it. And you put a Band-Aid on it. You put some gauze on it, you put some tape, you put a Band-Aid, you wrap it in an ace bandage, you do something that kind of wraps it up, okay? You're going to do the same thing with this pain. You're going to comfort it, meaning you're going to go into that pain and you're going to pull it close to your heart space and you're going to comfort it as if it was a baby or a kitten or a puppy that was in pain. You would bring it close to you. You would nurture it. You would comfort it. You would send it love from your heart space. I always used to tell my personal trainer boot camp clients, you can't hate yourself into health. You can't. You can't anger yourself into feeling better. You have to change. You have to shift. You have to look at things differently. You have to comfort it. Come from a place of love. Come from a place of comfort and peace. And comfort it. Pull it in and comfort it. Okay. Then when we take the Band-Aid off, we're releasing it to see about the healing, to see what it's doing. And so you're going to release the energy, release the pain. You're going to bring it in and comfort it. And then you're going to say, basically, it's just like a kid, a toddler skins his knee. He comes in, you pay attention to him. You assess, like, where is it? What's happening? Why are you crying? You comfort it. You comfort this baby. You bring him in. You whisper in his ear. It's going to be okay. You wipe his tears. You blow his nose. You kiss a boo-boo. And then what? You release it. Okay. You okay? All right. Mommy loves you. On your way you go, right? You release it. You've created the atmosphere to heal. You bring that pain in. You heal that pain. And then you go, I release this headache. I release this arthritis. I release this back pain. I release this foot pain. I release it from my body. And then you bring in the healing. Thank you. With gratitude. Thank you for the message. Thank you for giving me this perspective. Thank you for that it's not going to be long before I can walk and run and play again. Thank you is going to help to recreate and to continue on the healing environment. Now, if you are in pain and it is affecting you on an emotional level and you need some support with this, you know how to reach me. You come to my Lady Rising group on Facebook and you say, hey, Jen, I want to have a conversation with you. And I say, hey, let's go. Let's jump on a Zoom. Let me share with you what I do, the work I do, and how I can best support you. If you are in pain and it is affecting you emotionally, please reach out. There is a better way. I promise you, there is a better way. Till next time, keep searching for those nuggets. Wow, that may have felt like a lot of information in today's episode, but if you're looking for support and a deeper knowledge of what we talked about today, then let's connect. You can learn more about how I work and how you can work with me. Send me an email to the meditationroomtc@gmail.com, subject line, let's talk. And in the meantime, you can join my online Facebook community, Lady Rising, and mention that you came in through the podcast. I look forward to supporting you and connecting with you there.